Hello, my fellow book nerdies. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Step into the Phoenix Library and escape into the magic. Grab yourself a drink. Mine is a Diet Dr. Pepper, and I actually haven't opened this yet. Normally, by the time I'm starting these videos, I have already been halfway through my drink. So in one of my past videos, I did a kind of like an update for you guys. I talked all about the whole mid-year books that I've read, how my 100 book challenge is going, along with a bunch of my other challenges. In this video, I decided we're gonna have a 2026 mid-year book awards ceremony. Yes, I went through, I made myself a list of awards I would give to any type of book that I was reading so far this year. But beyond that, you guys, this video is gonna be completely raw. I have no idea what book I'm gonna pick. We're gonna go through them, and you and I are going to pick our awards together. Award number one, and we're starting with a big one, and we're starting with a hard one. The award for best overall book, so your favorite read of the year so far, would have to be, I guess if I had to pick one, guys, still is so hard. I would have to say Hollow by Suzanne Valente and Caroline Peckman, the Twisted Sisters. I absolutely loved this book a lot. I think that it had a lot of aspects to it. It had a great story. It definitely gave me a lot of like Lord of the Ringsy type vibes, storytelling and world building and character development. I absolutely loved the characters. I felt that the characters were very believable to the story that they were immersed in. I loved the aspect of it. It had me hooked from page one. I really didn't find myself bored. If I had to pick a book off the top of my head that would be my best book of the year so far, it would have to be Hollow. So next award, biggest surprise. A book that I expected very little from, but was pleasantly surprised by. That award goes to Glint by Raven Kennedy. Glint is book 2 in the Plated Prisoner series. I absolutely hated the first book, which was called Guild, one of the worst books of the year for me. So I would have to say Glint for me would be the most surprising for me because I was expecting very little of this book. Now, I didn't rate it a 5-star, it ended up only being a 4.5-star for me, but you guys, it was still a massive surprise for me. I was going into that book expecting very, very, very little. I was expecting to hate it, even though everybody was telling me that it would be fine and that it was a good book. I was expecting it to be like the worst. I loved it. I immediately went on Amazon and I picked up book 3, which is on its way, and I cannot wait to get it so that I can read it and continue the story. Next award goes to the most disappointing book so far of 2026. Like a book that I was convinced was going to be a 5-star read, and it tanked completely. The award goes to Sky Shielder by Lindsay Broker. I was so disappointed in this book, you guys. Now, number one, I was expecting this to be a 5-star read just alone by the fact that it was a Lindsay Broker book. And you guys, she wrote the Death Before Dragons series, which I have been doing a whole reread on this year. It's one of my all-time favorite series. I have listened or read these books so many times. Zav is the MMC of the book, and he's one of my book boyfriends. He's been on my book boyfriend list for the past, like, I don't know, 9-10 years. I love this book series, you guys. It still remains one of my top favorite series of all time. When I saw this series and I noticed that it was a Lindsay Broker book, I was immediately excited. I was expecting 5-star read. We have dragon riders in this book, and I thought, okay, you know, the story sounds amazing. This is going to be a really, really good book, and I hated it. Oh, you guys, I hated it with a fiery passion. I am so sorry if you guys liked it. There wasn't a single moment in that entire book that I didn't want to smack the MMC upside the head. I hated him so much. Like, I don't even remember his name. Like, he's just nothing to me. Like, he is horrible. There's supposed to be this romance, because it's like a romance fantasy book. What romance? The guy just wants to boing her because she's a she, and like, there's no chemistry, you guys. There's nothing there. There's no romance. And The FMC is the dumbest person on the face of the frickin' planet. She is advertised in the book about being so smart. She's dumb. She's totally dumb. Like, the fact that this guy can so easily manipulate her is just beyond me. And then she gets proof in front of her, and yet she's still manipulated. There wasn't even a side character that I liked. I was mad. I was disappointed. I was many things, but none of them were happy. Not that anybody would be glad to get this award, but there it is. There's that reward. The next award is the most underrated book. A book that I have read this year that I felt needs more attention than what it has gotten so far. For me, and like not everybody might agree with this, but this is a book that I have not seen anybody talking about other than my book club when we read it together. And you guys, this was a really good book. I rated it a 5-star. So the award for the most underrated book so far for me would have to be Half City. This book was so good. I loved everything about it. Kate Golden did such an amazing job, and this is going to be a series, so there's another book that's going to be coming out. But like, I hear nobody talking about this book, and I just don't know why, because it was so incredibly good. And yes, it has a romantic aspect to it, but it's so much more than that. It's so much adventure and so much action. She's like a demon slayer. I mean, she's like freaking Buffy the Vampire Slayer in a book, you guys, okay? There's all of these elements to her life, and then there's a mystery surrounding her and her family. She ends up going to this academy and making new friends and learning new techniques to fighting. Now, I mean, some of it, maybe was a little predictable for me, but you know, I tried to not judge a book by that category alone, because I find myself being able to predict most books I read. And that's just the fact that I've been reading books for like 35 years. So. The next award is the most overrated book. A very popular book that honestly, I didn't think worked for me. It would have to be Zodiac Academy, Book 5, Cursed Fates. Book 5, Cursed Fates. I had to double check that. And this is also by the Twisted Sisters, so Caroline Peckman and Suzanne Valenti. Guys, I hated this book. It was, it's on one of the worst books that I've read so far in 2026. So everybody is hyping about this book. No. I'm not even going to go on much about this book because it doesn't even really deserve it, in my opinion. I'm not going to put the whole series as the award, just that book specifically, in my opinion, overrated. Next award is the best plot twist. Honestly, I would have to say, if I had to pick, and there are a couple here that I could mention, but I'm trying to stick with just one book. So I think the award for the best plot twist for me, in my opinion, would have to be Starside by Alex Astor. I loved this book and I could not believe the ending. I did not see that coming. And that for me is what makes it one of the best plot twists. I was not expecting the way that it came out. Like, I was expecting some things to happen. I was expecting for some people to get separated. I was expecting certain things, but I was not expecting the twist that ended up happening at the end. I need the second book ASAP. With the way that the book ended, I'm so curious as to how a book 2 is going to be able to happen with both the MMC being where he is. Next award is the most emotional read so far. The one that made me cry, made me laugh, and left me thinking about it for days. I would have to say the award for the most emotional book that I've read in 2026 would have to probably be Daughter of No Worlds. That book made me cry, and it made me laugh, but mostly cry. Her story is so sad, you guys. One of the saddest stories. Like, it gave me Throne of Glass vibes, and in the sense of the FMC having such a traumatic story, a traumatic start to life, and the battles that they're having to go through in order to survive and just exist. It's just, it's so sad. And then of course you've got the MMC as well, how they come together. And you know, one of the things that I loved about it is how they came together wasn't this just massive explosive pow charisma thing, right? Like, they were both so broken in their own way. It took time for them to really develop into something. It was very slow, very realistic to the story of the book and the things that they were going through. And you guys, it was a beautiful story, very emotional, and it had me thinking about the book long after I've read it, and I still think about it to this day, to be to be 100% honest. And I do have book 2. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but it's definitely on my list of want to reads before this year's over. The next award, the biggest book, Hangover. So the story you couldn't set down until you had finished reading it, and even then it stuck with you. That one's easy, you guys. It was Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This book put me into a reading slump after I was done reading it. There's 2 books that are about the same characters. I'd only gotten through book 1 and it left on a cliffhanger. Like, I just couldn't get their story out of my head. It's definitely something that I need to complete because I don't think it will ever leave me until I get a happy ending for Johnny and Shannon. You guys, they need their happy ending, and I don't think I'm going to be able to rest until they get it. So it is a book that I bought book 2 on, which is Keeping 13. I can't wait to read that book. Next award is The Fastest Read, a book I blew through really fast because I just couldn't put it down. That's easy. That would be Curse of Shadows and Thorns by L.J. Andrews. This is book 1 in the Broken Kingdom series. You guys, I read this book in a couple hours. I mean, yes, it's a small book, but I could not put it down. Like, every page, just I had to know what was going to happen. I just sat down to read this book and I could not put it down. Next award is the slowest read so far in 2026. Would have to go to Furybound by Sable Sorensen. You guys, I don't know. This was a 5-star book. I'll give it that. It was a 5-star book, and it was a really good book. It was one of the books that I read right after Binding 13, and it was kind of what I like to call my slump month, because I've been doing so good so far throughout the entire year of just reading lots of books and, you know, just being excited about almost all of them. But then June hit, and June was just super slumpy. So I have dubbed June my slump month. Oh, sorry, it was May. It was May that was my slump month. I don't know why I said June. May was my slump month. It took me 2 weeks in May to read Furybound. And because of that, I only read 6 books in the month of May. And 2 weeks of that was trying to get through Furybound. And I don't know what was wrong with it. I genuinely don't think there was anything wrong with the story. It was a good story. It had good characters. The flow was good. I was reading slow, or I didn't read at all. Like, it wasn't something, for some reason, it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I can't wait to get reading Furybound, and like, not a book that I could just like, I couldn't put down. Like, I don't know, you guys, but it took me 2 weeks to read that book. And that has been the longest I have taken to get through a book so far. Next award is Best Opening Chapter, the book that hooked me immediately upon starting. I'm gonna have to think about that one for a minute, guys. I'll be back. Probably for me have to go to Heavenly Bodies by Jami Ferru. I'm horrible with names, you guys. It started out really, really good. Like, the whole book was good. In my opinion, it was definitely a God tier book for me. I loved book 2, but I loved how Heavenly Bodies started. It was very, in my opinion, action-packed. And like, she literally starts out having been captured and being taken away from her kingdom. I thought that that was a very ingenious and kind of cool way to open a book, because like, you're opening a book and you're expecting, you know, it to be a little bit slow. You're expecting some world building, some character building, getting yourself immersed into these new worlds. And you open this book, page 1, boom, she's captured. She's being taken out of her kingdom to an enemy kingdom, and it's like, pow, insanity. It was an incredible way to do that. So definitely best opening chapter. Okay, next award is best ending, a final that totally stuck its landing. So I guess, like, this one's a tough one because I feel like most of the books that I'm reading so far this year are part of series. So like, a lot of them land on cliffhangers that doesn't really make me feel like it's a solid, secure landing for an ending of a book. I had to pick from like books that, even though they might be part of a series, they have their own individual couples happily ever after. So I went ahead and went with Twisted Games by Anna Wong. This was a really good book. This had the whole bodyguard trope, which I absolutely love. And I loved the ending of this book. How they did it was pretty genius. There was other ways that I guess they could have ended the book, but they didn't, and I kind of like where they went with it. Everything was tied up into a nice, neat, pretty, happily ever after bow, an ending that really stuck true to this story that it was portraying. Next award, Best Character. This one's gonna be tough. It's like trying to pick a favorite child. You just don't have one. I love all my kids equally. Being asked that question is tough, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm just gonna need a minute to think about it. After lots of thought, I would want to say Val from The Death Before Dragons, because it is a series that I am reading in 2026, but it's a series that I'm rereading, and so I don't feel like that is fair to the other characters that I just met this year. Val's been a favorite for a long time, so I'm not gonna award to Val. So instead, I'm gonna give the award to Diana from the Gods and Monsters series. Book 1 is the Book of Azrael, but I love Diana. I love her story. She's been through so much, you guys, and all she wants to do is protect people that she loves. And like, so many bad things keep happening to her in the meantime, but she's also very kick-ass. Despite all of the trials and things that she's been through, all the hardships, she keeps fighting. She keeps showing up. She keeps loving. Like, she's got a resilience, a will to live that's just awe-inspiring. She's definitely someone to look up to because of how hard she fights. No matter what hits her, what knocks her down, she's always getting back up. She's always finding that silver lining. And it's been hard for her. Yes, she has had times where she felt like she couldn't function, right? And she's like turning her emotions off. But it's not about how you get up. It's about the fact that you do get up and you do keep trying and you do keep believing in love and believing that things can get better. Diana is very awe-inspiring. So the next award, the best villain of 2026 so far. The most memorable antagonist that I love to hate. Interesting. Okay, it would be Maximus Sorel from Daggermouth. That guy was diabolical. He was evil. He was smart. He was a true villain, and I loved to hate him. He was a good villain, and I definitely hated him with the fiery passion, and like everything about him I hated. That guy was insane. And then the events that ended up happening at the end of Daggermouth, wow, was that another one of those crazy cliffhangers? Let me tell you, I didn't see that one coming either. But he's like Moriarty. He always seems to be one step ahead of you. The good guys think that they're one step ahead. They think they have a plan. They think that they know what's going to go down, just to have it completely thwarted by Maximus Sorel. Next book would be Best Character Growth. So a character that I think changed the most throughout the book or throughout the story. Probably go to Rave from When the Moon Hatched, written by Sarah A. Parker. She goes through a lot of changes in book 1, and I'm currently reading book 2, so I don't want to say too much. I feel like she went through a lot of character growth throughout book 1, from where she started and her mentality and how she thought and how she felt, the people she lost, the traumas that she's been dealing with. She went from closing herself off to learning how to love and trust again, learning to accept that love and not run from it. I feel like on the inside, she's grown a lot and she's changed a lot. She still has a long ways to go. She's still trying to hide from all of these traumas. Like, she buries them so far down into her brain, like she doesn't want to think about them. She wants to pretend like they don't exist. I just feel like Rave would definitely deserve the reward for the most character growth throughout her story so far. I'm not sure how many books are supposed to be in this series, but something tells me that Rave still has a very long journey ahead of her. Okay, the next award goes to the best found family, something with strong group dynamics. Would have to go to Powerless by Elsie Silver, and this is just mainly because the MMC of the book and everything that he's been through. Like, his family once upon a time had been really close, and then a tragedy happened, and then like everybody split off, and then this guy was just on his own, abandoned as a kid, nobody wanting him, like living in his car. He meets a guy in high school who pretty much just says, hey, is this where you're living? You're not living here anymore. You're coming home with me. And so he just takes him to his house, where his dad immediately, accepts him into the family. He instantly becomes like a brother to them. It's just the way that this family took in this poor kid who was all alone, who had nobody, and just brought them into their home, gave him a place to sleep, clothes on his back, gave him food, took care of him, made sure he wasn't alone. It wasn't just like a charity thing or anything like that. Like, it was family. They made him family, said, hey, you are my brother. And that's exactly how he feels. Again, you guys, a very, very, very sweet book, an amazing found family story. Next award goes to the best world building book so far that I've read in 2026. I would have to say, and this one kind of surprises me because I've read a lot of good books, a lot of good world building books, but I have to say that I actually like the Baby Dragon Cafe series so far and how they're building the world. It is so different compared to a lot of the ones that I've read. I've read a lot of books with a lot of magic, you guys, a lot of fae, a lot of war and battling, villains. This book was just very clean cut, very sweet. If you had combined Gilmore Girls with dragons, that's kind of the Baby Dragon Cafe. I absolutely love the world building there. I love how they put everything together. It's whimsical and magical, but yet it's also down to earth. And I loved how they did the dragons right there, not the classic dragon rider books like you would think when you read Fourth Wing or Aragon. I love how they integrated magic with the real world and brought it together in just a cutesy little story that really, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just a very unique world building scenario. It was just so different to what I normally read, and that's what I loved the most about it, and that's why it deserves this award. Okay guys, we're down to like the last 10 awards. So I'm gonna try to make this as quickly as possible. This is gonna end up being a long video. So the most beautifully written book goes to When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. I believe that this story was so beautifully written. The storytelling, the immersiveness to it, I just loved the writing so much. I think that I love the whole concept. I like how it integrates the dragons and the humans and the societies around them. The writing really draws you in. It's just, if you could read a sentence and be able to describe it as beautiful, that would be When the Moon Hatched, hands down. And this book definitely deserves that award. The most addictive book, a book that I read that I just kept telling myself, one more chapter, one more chapter, one more chapter. And that would have to be Curse of Shadows and Thorns, again, earning another award. Congratulations to L.J. Andrews for such an amazing book. It was a very addictive book, and I just kept telling myself, I'll read one more chapter and then I'll get my other stuff done. No, I'm going to do one more chapter and then just one more chapter, and then it just kept going to another chapter and another chapter and another chapter, and it was just like never ending. Next award is the book that had the best cover. That would have to be A Curse of Shadows and Ice by Catherine Marua. I thought this cover was absolutely beautiful. I am a huge fan of Beauty and the Beast, and this is kind of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling story. You guys, I absolutely loved the cover of this book. Beautiful red roses, but also integrating ice and blue. It's right there, you guys. Need I say more? It was gorgeous. Best audiobook award is gonna go to Death Before Dragons series, and I'm just gonna leave it at the series because I am rereading all of them. Best roller coaster award. This one's gonna be interesting. I guess for me, it would probably have to be Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rorick. I felt like this book definitely went up and down a lot. Her emotions went up and down. The storytelling went up and down. The events went up and down, right? Like really strong to really insecure, to really brave, to really scared, to I have it all figured out, to I don't know anything. A giant roller coaster of events, of things that happen. We'd have slumps and then spikes and then back to slumps. Like most unique concept award. So a story unlike anything I've ever read before. Award would probably have to go to, drumroll please, I'm gonna go with Metal Slinger. I thought that it was uniquely different, even to where she starts out, right? Because she starts out with this society of people who live on a bunch of little trees in the middle of the ocean. Like, they're not land dwellers. They don't live on land. They've been cast out. Definitely water people, but they don't live on boats. Storyline and the things that they talk about and the magic power system. And so, yes, Metal Slinger, definitely for that award. Scariest book that I've read so far. Either one that genuinely scared me like a thriller, or one that was just scary in the sense of, ugh. That one's gonna be a tough one, you guys, because I don't really read horror books. So I gotta think. I'm going to kind of change from like the scariest to just the darkest. And I would have to say that the darkest is going to be Vicious Secrets by Morgan Bridges. Kind of scariest book because it was a darker book. It was scary in the sense of this guy's a massive stalker and he has very creepy tendencies. And I know that is a giant leap, but when you're a romance book reader, you gotta go with what you got. And that's what I got. Next award, and you know what? This couldn't be a cozy reading vlog channel if we didn't give an award to the most coziest book that I have read so far in 2026. I would genuinely have to say The Gingerbread Bakery House. I think it's like book 5 in the Dream Harbor series by Laurie Gilmore. And you guys, it was just a sweet, cozy read. And you get this present versus past situation, and the romance was just watching the romance build between them. It was just sweet enough to give you a toothache. Okay, the award for the best series so far of 2026, that's an easy one, you guys, The Broken Kingdom. Out of all the series that I have read in 2026, The Broken Kingdom is proving to be my all-time favorite. As some of you probably already know, because I rave about it in just about every single one of my videos. My videos kind of speak for themselves. Favorite sequel, where sometimes the sequel is better than the first book. Okay, that award's also I'm gonna have to say would have to go to Glent. Again, book 1 totally sucked, but book 2 was amazing, where it's better than its previous book. And so it definitely deserves this award, hands down. And the last award goes to a book I haven't read yet, but one I'm looking forward to. So the award for the most anticipated book for the rest of the year would have to be, drumroll, part of the Heavenly Bodies series, book 3, Holy Monsters, which as of right now, as far as I'm understanding, is set to come out on November 24th of this year. And so for me, it is my most anticipated read that I'm the most excited about. Like I said, I've read Heavenly Bodies, book 2, which is Fallen Stars, and now I'm just waiting for that book 3. So for me, as of right now, the award for the most anticipated book coming in 2026 that I'm the most excited to read, it would have to be Holy Monsters from the Heavenly Bodies series. Yes, I cannot wait. But it's one of those things, right? Like, you don't want the years to go by super fast, but then yet at the same time, you kind of do, because there's books that you really want to read. And so you have to wait for those months to come up so that you can actually read them. And that concludes my mid-year award ceremony for involving all of the books that I have read so far. If any of these awards were something that stood out to you and made you think of a particular book that you had in mind, let me know down in the comments below what those books were. I hope you guys like this video. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I hope you guys had a good and safe 4th of July, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.